Today I'm going to share with you the one reason that you experience depression and low mood. Great privilege of being trained. I had the great privilege of being. I had the great privilege of. I had the great privilege of being trained by one of the all-time therapy masters, Dr. Ellis, and I was lucky enough to have therapy with him on 2 occasions as well. And in that therapy, he shared with me something very important, which has taken me years to really understand. He said that all human disturbance, specifically depression, is fueled by one thing: shame. So shame occurs when we fall short of our own ideals, either in our eyes or in somebody else's eyes. So someone else sees us and makes a moral judgment on our behaviour. That can also cause shame. But the key to then getting depressed is that we keep going over and over what it is that we feel ashamed about, and we don't give ourselves a break. We listen to that critical voice that sits on our shoulder and keeps whispering in our ear, going over and over what it is that we've done that we shouldn't have done, or what we haven't done that we should have done. And in that way we start to feel less worth, and as our worth goes down, so does our mood. So what CBT proposes is that we counteract this with a healthy, compassionate voice, like a healthy parent that sits on our shoulder and tells us healthy things, not positive rubbish, but healthy things, and counteracts it. So what happens if we don't know what the healthy alternative is? What happens if we've had very critical parents, and so we don't have a dialogue in our heads of knowing, how do I answer this critical voice back that keeps telling me how badly I'm doing? Well, let me illustrate it by asking you a ridiculous question. Do you know anything about herding sheep? So in this country, how we herd sheep is we use a dog. And the dog we use is a border collie. And the reason for that is that when sheep see a border collie bounding across a field, they don't see a dog. What they see is a wolf. And they immediately flock together out of fear that something awful is about to happen. But the whole aim of this is to get them into the pen, to get them protected. Once the shepherd has them locked in the pen, he knows that they're safe. But if you go to Mediterranean countries, they herd sheep completely differently. In the summer, in hot countries like Israel and Cyprus, the land gets so scorched, they have to go up into the hills. And the way that they herd sheep, they have a shepherd with a shepherd's crook, and he just taps the ground and he calls out to the sheep. And they naturally follow him. And they follow him because they know that they're safe. They know that he'll take care of them, that it will lead them to fresh pasturage, that it will lead them to fresh water. In that way, they trust him. And if you're a fan of The Godfather, you would have already seen this style of herding. It's the moment that Michael's walking through the Sicilian hills. This is the difference between following our critical voice that breathes the fear of God into us and scares us into thinking that we're going to fail or we're going to lose something, compared to the compassionate voice that, like a loving parent, sits on our shoulder and tells us that we can do it, that we can actually handle it. That's the difference between the critical voice and the compassionate voice. The point is, both styles of thinking are trying to do the same thing. I have never met anybody who suffers from low mood or depression that wasn't trying to get it right. But the critical voice goes one step further. It creates a perfectionistic goal. It says you have to absolutely get it right, and then it starts highlighting to you all the ways that you get it wrong, in a way of trying to protect you, in a way of trying to get you to do the right thing. But you know as well as I do, if you're trying to encourage someone, you don't highlight everything they're getting wrong. You tell them how well they're doing and the things that they are doing well. Then they're motivated to do something about it. They're motivated to try harder, and in that way they get it right. That's what the compassionate voice does. It's the same as those two styles of herding sheep. One is trying to protect the sheep, and so is the other. One does it in a cruel way and scares the sheep into doing the right thing by telling them that something awful's about to happen, even though it isn't. And then the healthy shepherd, who's kind and compassionate, does it through warmth and kindness. So how does that work in practice? Well, let me just rewind the tape and I'll show you. It's the feedback I get from clients, and even in my own personal experience, I find that that critical voice comes automatically. It comes very easily, but the compassionate voice requires real hard work. But it's really worth it. The more you engage with that compassionate voice, the more your low mood will lift. So I implore you, please keep working at your CBT, and you'll find that the benefits far outweigh the hard work that you put in. So thank you for watching. Please hit that subscribe button if you're watching through YouTube. The more subscribers I have, the more I can do these vlogs for you. And if there's any ideas that you have for future vlogs, please put them in the comments and I'll try my best to do them for you. But most of all, be good to yourself.